reading from the book of Wisdom. The souls of the just are in the hands of God, and no torment shall touch them. They seemed in the view of the foolish to be dead, and their passing away was thought an affliction, and their going forth utter destruction. But they are in peace. For if before men indeed they be punished, yet is their hope full of immortality. Chastised a little, they shall be greatly blessed, because God tried them and found them worthy of himself. As gold in the furnace he proved them, and as sacrificial offerings he took them to himself. In the time of their visitation they shall shine, and shall dart about as sparks through stubble. They shall judge nations and rule over peoples, and the Lord shall be their king forever. Those who trust in him shall understand truth, and the faithful shall abide with him in love. Because grace and mercy are with his holy ones, and his care is with his elect. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Those who sow in tears shall reap rejoicing.
Those who sow in tears shall reap rejoicing.
When the Lord brought back the captives of Zion, we were like men dreaming. Then our mouth was filled with laughter, and our tongue with rejoicing.
Those who sow in tears shall reap rejoicing.
Then they said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us. We are glad indeed.
Those who sow in tears shall reap rejoicing.
Restore our fortunes, O Lord, like the torrents in the southern desert. Those who sow in tears shall reap rejoicing.
Those who sow in tears shall reap rejoicing.
Although they go forth weeping, carrying the seed to be sown, they shall come back rejoicing, carrying their sheaves.
Those who sow in tears shall reap rejoicing. Alleluia, 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 alleluia. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke. Jesus said to all, "If anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. What profit is there for one to gain the whole world, yet lose or forfeit himself? Whoever is ashamed of me and of my words, the Son of Man will be ashamed of when he comes in his glory and in the glory of the Father and of the holy angels." The Gospel of the Lord. It's an amazing thing that the beginnings of the Catholic Church, the Christian faith in Korea, had to do with Japanese soldiers who were on a conquest mission, and they happened to be Christian, and they brought Christianity to Korea, a strange kind of way of bringing the faith, but that's what happened. And they were the ones who brought a bit of Christian literature in. Korea was an extremely closed country, just like North Korea is right now, and they had no use for anybody on the outside, whether it was Japanese or they had to do some obeisance to China, but other than that, and certainly nobody from the West. So Andrew actually was born from Christian convert Korean family. okay? And he became a priest, and he was ordained in China, okay, and then comes back into Korea, bringing literature. Where did the literature come from? The Jesuits. Why is that interesting? Because after all, where did the Japanese converts come from? Francis Xavier, okay? So you've got all of this connection, okay? This is only about 30 or 40 years after Xavier would have died, okay? So his efforts, his missionary efforts in Japan, bring the good news, secondhand, so to speak, to Korea. Very, very interesting. But, as I said, Korea was a closed country, as Japan became a closed country on and off for a couple of 100 years. And so when Jesuits finally were able to come into the country, they discovered for decades, they had thousands of Christians, of Catholics, who are native Koreans, who in fact had never, ever experienced the presence of a priest. And so the only sacrament that they knew then was baptism. That was it. In the same way, for a couple of 100 years, as I said, off and on, there was an underground church in Japan. Same thing, the same thing. What tremendous faith, what tremendous strength, especially in the face of martyrdom as well. We give all the praise to God for the ways in which Andrew and Paul, who was a lay catechist, in fact, and his companions, the way they were able to stand firm in such difficult circumstances, and how sometimes we have a real easy time not standing firm in nowhere near the kind of difficult circumstances that other countries have faced, particularly in the Far East. But we can thank God for the example and the witness of St. Paul and St. Andrew, and ask them to bless us today in our own missionary efforts to be firm in our faith, not to be ashamed of the gospel, not to be ashamed of it at all, but to be proud to be Catholics and Christians. Let us stand and pray.